So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Q&A. With no further ado, let's get straight into it. So, question number one is, what are your thoughts on charging clients only a performance-based fee? For example, no retainer and 25% return on ad spend. Here is my issue with it. It's, I'm a fan of the model, and, I'm a big fan of performance fees because it's such a pure relationship, especially return on ad spend. I've talked to you guys before about my opinion on charging a percentage of revenue or charging a percentage of ad spend. It just incentivizes the wrong things. So charging a percentage of ROAS is sort of the most pure structure that you can have. Now, sorry, someone was just at the door. But here is the issue with that. It's no skin in the game on the client's part. The only thing that I fear with that, and we have one client which is just purely a percentage of ROAS, but they also paid 10K upfront for us to do a little bit of a funnel build for them. So once again, there was skin in the game on their end. Now, going forward long term, 2, 3, 4 years down the line, I want to be making 95% of my revenue from performance fees. And I guess kind of my goal is working with like 10 or 15 partners, and with all of them making them a couple $100,000 a month, and then personally for our agency taking an average of, let's say, 25, 30 grand a month in billables, and then obviously 90% of that coming from our performance fee. I think even at that point with my agency, I still want to do a base, because even if the performance fee part of the retainer comes out to $10,000, even if you're just charging them $1,000 base retainer, what that does is it shows that they have some sort of buy-in, they have some sort of skin in the game. And I think there's something very, very powerful about that. And I also just think it makes sure that you attract the right people to your agency and you don't just attract tire kickers. So that's pretty much my opinion. I'm a big fan of performance fees, but I think no matter what, you should still have a base retainer. That way you're attracting the right people. And second, just so there's some skin in the game on the client's part. Next question is, are you big on interior design and do you feel like it impacts your work ethic? If so, what are your favorite styles? For example, mid-century, modern, rustic, industrial, etc., etc. I'm a huge interior design fan. In the same way you guys know I'm very into my fashion, you guys know that I'm very into my photography, my film photography. I'm very into the aesthetics of things. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm so particular when it comes to aesthetics, when it comes to the aesthetics of a house, when it comes to the aesthetics of an area, when it comes to the aesthetics of the way something looks. I have a very particular style. Now, when it comes to houses, I like some of the, I'll tell you some of the stuff that I do. Like I like, and to be honest, I don't know the technical term for this stuff, but I do like some of the sort of industrial loft stuff. It is very cool. I don't think it's my kind of style, but I can appreciate it. I like a lot of these Scandinavian cool earthy tones. I like that sort of chic Scandinavian vibe. But I'd say in general, my sort of interior design preference is kind of what I had at my old place, what I have here, which is I like it to be chic. I like it to be somewhat modern, but not super modern. I cannot stand, for the life of me, new builds, like new build, like complexes and stuff like that. Like I know some people love them, but to me, they have no personality. And especially here in London, like there's no new builds in nice areas. Like for me in London, like I just can never imagine myself not living in Chelsea, Knightsbridge, South Kensington, Belgravia. Like it's just, I don't know, like would never, I don't know, just for me, like I would never want to live anywhere else.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
And obviously in these areas, the most affluent areas, they don't do any new builds. So maybe it's just the fact that like the new builds, I think maybe it would be different if, we were talking about New York here, and obviously everything in New York is mainly these new build, high-rise apartments, this, that. There it's cool, but just here, the sort of life that you get with the new build, I don't really like, because a lot of those places are just they just feel very lifeless, to be honest, and I just think they're very like unoriginal, to be honest. So yeah, for me, I just want something that's very chic, modern, but not too modern. And for me, key areas of the house is, to be honest, I actually don't really care too much about the bedroom, because even in this place, it's 4-floor, 3-bedroom house. I made the master bedroom my office, because the master bedroom is actually 2 floors. It's like split level. And I made the guest room my bedroom, and the third guest room, or like the third bedroom, I just have that as a guest room at the moment. So for me, the main thing is, what does the office space look like? The bathrooms to me are definitely super important. I said bedroom is something that's not important to me. One thing that I've realized now in my next place is I want, and I guess in all fairness, I actually have this here. I want sort of a walk-in wardrobe. In this place, I actually have, like, I'm sure one day I'll potentially I'll do a home tour. A reason I haven't done it is just for security reasons, but like my office is like a room, and then it's like one big, like almost mini apartment, like my office master bedroom space. So it's like one room for the office connected with like this open plan setting to another room, which is kind of like the walk-in wardrobe, or like, some people have like chill seating area in their wardrobe. It's like that. And then you go up, and then there's another basically room split level thing, which I've made into my like church altar meditation area. It's all very, very cute. I love it. But yeah, for me, as long as I have a good place to work and I have a bathroom, I'd say is pretty important to me. Other areas of the house that I don't really care about is kitchen. I'd say the kitchen it's not bad here, but like I don't think it's very impressive. Oh, and the other thing is outside area. As you can see behind me, I have outside area, which I think it's just so important to be able to sit outside and read or have a coffee or do whatever you want to do. I think an outside area is very, very important to have. In my last one, I had a beautiful AstroTurf private garden. Here, it's actually not as big as my last one, even though this place is more expensive. But to be honest, I don't mind. I've got some outside table. I've got a table coming, and there's seating for 4, and I can kind of sit out there and have lunch with friends, or read, or just have sit and have a tea, whatever it may be. So yeah, for me, the interior of the house is very, very important. One thing that I will actually mention about this place is 4 floors, and I actually have realized that I think my next place I'm gonna get smaller. It's funny because the only reason that I left my last place is that I thought I wanted something bigger. Like I loved my last place so much. Like, it was, my last place came out to roughly around $4,000 a month, which was an absolute steal. And this place, right before everything that happened in the world, I actually managed to get a ridiculous discount on this place. This place last year was around $12,000 a month rent-wise, and then now it's around $8,500. And then now this year I'm paying around $8,000 a month for this place. And I know these numbers seems absolutely crazy to you guys, but like, guys, this is what happens when you live in London, live in Knightsbridge. It's just, that's kind of how the property market is here. But anyways, back to my point. With my last place, I was looking at stuff for like $15,000, $20,000 a month rental wise, and I still couldn't find anything that I liked more than my last place. So I actually moved out of that last place only because I wanted something bigger. Now that I'm in something bigger, I've actually realized that like, I don't need this much space. Like my 4th floor, I meditate there for 10 minutes a day. Sometimes I'll do a second meditation, so I'm up there 20 minutes a day. I don't really use that space. My 3rd guest room, I don't use. Like most of the house, to be honest, I don't really use. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm gonna do in this living room. Like I don't watch TV really. Like, I don't know. I think the only thing that I will say is I much prefer houses than apartments, obviously. Except the annoying thing about London houses is you can't have it all on one floor. That is one thing I do love about really big apartments. Even if you get a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment, is a lot of times you can get it on one floor, so no stairs. I'm not a fan of stairs. I actually hate stairs. Like I don't like the stairs way of living, if that makes sense. So I really, really, really like the houses in LA. I'd say if there's any place in the world where I appreciate the architecture the most, it would probably be LA or Cape Town. As long as it's not too ultra modern, as long as it's still very chic and has character, I'd say those are really the 2 places in terms of architecture that I appreciate the most. And unfortunately in London, you cannot get anything like LA or Cape Town, because everything here in terms of the townhouses are quite high, are 2, 3, 4, 5 floors. You don't really get many places where it's just really wide and open, unless you go to, as I said, sort of different areas. In Knightsbridge, Chelsea, South Kensington, that doesn't really happen. All right, on to the next question. How much time do you spend running ads for a client in a month? Reason I want to put this question is because I saw the comments there. Someone responded, he spends 0 or maybe an hour a month on client campaigns, and then the person who initially asked the question was like, so I don't get it. How does he get paid all these retainers? Well, quite simply, that's what I have a team for. You guys are definitely very well aware of Danny, of Kieran, of Luis. This is my team here at IAG Media. And obviously, I'm at a point now for the past 2 years, actually just under 2 years, I don't do anything in terms of my client campaigns. I focus on running the business. It was up until December of 2018 where I was still writing some copy. So all the way up until October or November of 2018, I was writing all the copy for my clients. And then Danny was the one who was actually managing the campaigns, et cetera, et cetera. There was a 2.5 month period where Danny and I were sort of like fighting over who could write the best converting ad copy, because Danny, within the space of 6 months, really got his shit together in terms of copywriting. And then from there, I brought on Kieran. So obviously he's full-time copywriter. So at that point, Danny and I were able to relinquish those responsibilities. So, ever since 2019 and 2020, I really don't do a single thing when it comes to client campaigns, but that's fine because that's not my job as the business owner at this stage. Now, there's many routes that you can go with your agency. I was speaking to a student in copy paste agency today, and he very sheepishly was telling me that he's actually making $22,000 a month, but he's still running all the campaigns himself. So he's doing all the service delivery himself. So, you can do that, but similar to, the student copy paste agency, it served him well to get to $22K a month. He followed all the principles taught in Agency Incubator, and then from there went into copy paste agency, and he followed those principles, and it served him well to get to $22K a month profit. But then now he's got this golden handcuff situation where it's like, he's got all these clients, but it's taking so much time to service them. So, there's an example like that. But there's some people who literally will never run a campaign from day one because they get a contractor to work on a per month per client basis. So for example, the contractor will charge him $600 per month per client, and he'll charge the client $1,500 per month. And guys, that really is what an agency is. An agency, even the big scale agencies with 500 employees, it's taking all of these people's time and then figuring out what their time is worth in terms of client billables and paying them 1/4 or 1/5 of that. But obviously they have the security of an actual job. Like that's what an agency is when you get to a high level. So hopefully that answers your question. Now, it's not something that, as I said, immediately from tomorrow you'll just sign a client and you won't have to do anything and everything's hands off and the onboarding's all sorted and this and that. It takes some time to get there, but as I said, for me, for the first 2 years, I did pretty much about everything in my agency. Yes, I had some contractors here and there, but I'd say 70% of the stuff I did in the first 2 years with my agency. So you guys can really shortcut that process and get to that point a lot quicker. Last question is, why do you have an American accent and not a British or Russian one? Also, what immune disorder are you struggling with? I'm also struggling with an autoimmune/diet issue. So that's a great question. Now, I moved here from Russia when I was 4 years old, and I had 3 months before school started. And I swear to God, the reason that I sound like this is because of Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So let me explain. In Russia, where I'm from, Dagestan, it really is like, it's actual poverty. Like in my grandma's home, which is where I was raised for first 4 years of my life, it's I think they're called like Turkish bathrooms or something like that. Like there's no toilet. Like you would go out of my grandma's. I remember you take a right and then you go down, maybe 30 meters. And my grandfather actually with his own hands built my grandma and their home that my family's been in for the past 50 years. My mom is the youngest of seven children. So anyway, so you take that right, and then you take another right, and then you go down maybe like 50 meters, and then you go past all the chickens and the ducks and stuff like that, and you go past all of the the cucumbers and the tomatoes, and then you go back, and there's this shack, and then you squat and you do your thing. And I remember the worst thing is when it's like nighttime and you have to go back there, and it was just it's just petrifying. But anyways, so I went from that to moving to London, and the other thing is there they had TV with 9 black and white channels, and at the time when I moved, when I came to London, it was 999 color channels. So like it was just mind-blowing to me. And I remember I'd be on Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, all this stuff, and for 3 months before school started, I just learned English to the best of my ability, because that was the instruction from my mom when I came here, is you have to learn English as quick as humanly possible. So I would watch TV and I'd be watching like Sweet Life of Zach and Cody and That's So Raven. That's So Raven was such an amazing show. And like, all this stuff. And there was something else. There was Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, That's So Raven. And then there was something Josh. There was something with Josh, like the 2 brothers or something that like lived in that same room. And then like, I forget what it's called, but like, I remember I love that show as well. But anyways, long story short, that's how I learned English. Is for the most part watching Disney Channel and whatnot. So yeah, that is pretty much for the most part why I sound like this, or the only reason that I can think of it, because I moved to London because the first time I ever went to America was when I was 16. So I'd never even been to America before then. So yeah, I get told that I have either an American accent or just I have a very confused accent. But yeah, that is why. Now, in regards to the autoimmune condition I have, I actually have psoriasis. I contracted it 8 weeks ago. I don't know if contracting it makes sense, but I developed it 8 weeks ago. I actually developed it because of a tattoo. So the 7th tattoo I got, the one here, it was fine for 2.5 months, and then from there it just started getting like a little red. And keep in mind, I've 7th tattoo I've ever gotten, and I've gotten a tattoo from the same tattoo parlor before, and I got it in Bali, and like this is the best tattoo parlor in Bali, and Bali has some just incredible tattoo artists. And I've gotten one from there before, it was never an issue. But this one, if you guys have seen all my tattoos, I like pretty faint and light. This one was a lot heavier. So 2.5 months later, it just got a little red, and then from there, it kind of just stayed like that for 3 months, and I just thought, whatever, no issues. Plus, it was lockdown, I was like, whatever, it'll be fine. And then it started getting like red and like properly inflamed and flaky, but it didn't hurt at all. So that happened, and then a couple days later, I got my first ever psoriasis patches. And basically for the last 8 weeks, I've just been having to fight psoriasis, and that's why I'm doing the carnivore diet. And funnily enough, it's actually starting to clear. If I showed you it for, I'd say actually, no, it's been probably closer like, no, it's been like 3 months now since I first developed it. But if I showed you literally like even 4 weeks ago before I started the carnivore diet, like I had flaky, like anyone who's ever had a psoriasis knows it's just the worst thing ever, especially when the doctors tell you that it's with you for the rest of your life, and there's some big name people, for example, Kim Kardashian, she has psoriasis, and it's like, I think it's been like 15 years and she still has it. And obviously that even messes with your head, because you're like, someone who's worth hundreds of millions still can't figure this thing out. But I just don't think she's ever given it a fair shot with the correct diet. I know that she's vegan. I would be very interested to see what happens if she went carnivore. I also know people who go vegan and that fixes their psoriasis. So that's not to say that, a vegan diet can't fix psoriasis. I've just seen anecdotally the best results come from, number one, people who do keto, and then even more so the people who do carnivore, and also cut out like caffeine out of their life, alcohol, all that sort of, that whole spiel. But so I got psoriasis, and it's like, it's here. You can see like little plaques. I don't know how well that's coming across the screen, like here, and like on my legs, nothing on my torso or anything. And I have full confidence that it will clear in the next 90 days. As I said, like if I showed you this 4 weeks ago, like scale, like it was nuts. Now it's kind of, really settling down, and it was like red before, and then now it's really settling down and becoming more like a pinkish color, very like, almost like my skin color. So obviously those are the scars, and those need to heal. So give it 90 days, and I know for a fact it will heal, because I'm clearing it naturally, healing myself naturally. So I'll keep you guys updated, but it's funny because it's an autoimmune condition that I really don't like. It's tough because obviously it's so in your face. Like I was talking to one of my buddies, and he was joking with me. He's like, I bet you would have preferred a slip disc, wouldn't you? And I was like, yeah, honestly, like, when you see someone with a back problems or something like that, or even, when you hear about people and they have really, and they have issue, like digestive issue and stuff like that, what you're thinking in your mind is like, oh, like poor them, like, you almost feel like the sense of like pity, or like at least empathy for them and this and that. I think the thing that sucks so much with psoriasis that I know people who have it experience is like, people look at them and they think that they're like dirty, and I guess that makes sense. Like skin is skin is associated with like cleanliness and this and that, when people don't understand that like your skin really has nothing to do with how clean you are. Your skin is your largest organ. So your skin has everything to do with your gut microbiome, has everything to do with your immune system, it has everything to do with basically your liver, all sorts of stuff, which is why I'm doing, as I said, apart from carnivore, a lot of detoxing. And, at the moment, I'm health-wise, I am at a 10 out of 10. I've never been in a better place health-wise. Now, the next question may be like, okay, but why does the psoriasis not clear? And, I even had this question of like, okay, but once I get everything in order, why doesn't the psoriasis just go away like the next day or whatever? First of all, obviously there's scars, so the scars have to heal. And then outside of that, the issue with it is basically your immune system, after doing more research and, actually, over the past 10 weeks, I've kind of become an expert in this stuff, is your immune system is a very funny thing. And once the cat's out the bag, it takes a while to kind of calm everything down, get everything aligned. Even if all of your biological markers are on point and everything is at a 10 out of 10, it still just needs some time to realign, everything calm down. Because basically what's happening in my body is my body thinks my skin is under attack. So it's producing skin cells. So in terms of the top layer of skin, it's producing too many skin cells. Like basically although it doesn't look like it, I'm producing too much fresh skin, funnily enough. So that needs to, that signal, it's TNF, that needs to kind of get in line, and that needs to basically chill the fuck out. And once that happens, then everything can clear. Then the scars will take, as I said, 6, 8 weeks, 10 weeks to kind of calm down. But yeah, I'm very excited because I'm pretty adamant that by November, everything will be cleared. It sucks. I really didn't want to deal with this stuff, and especially the first 4 6 weeks of it, it's very intense because it said, it was way worse, and you see it starting to get worse and spreading through your body, and you start to think like, I'll probably have this thing for the rest of my life. And it is not a nice thing, when you got these spots on your legs and they're flaky, and it's just, and even just same thing with t-shirt, it's, at the end of the day, I'm not someone who really cares too much what people think, but even just in terms of like being on sales calls and wearing a t-shirt, it's like, and then obviously someone's gonna think like, have you had some sort of allergic reaction, or like, what's wrong with your skin? Subliminally they'll be thinking that. So and just same thing when you're at a restaurant, like it just makes things a little more difficult. And all in all, you start playing the scenarios where it's like, you have this thing for the rest of your life, which unfortunately for 99% of people with psoriasis and 99% of people who develop any sort of autoimmune condition is, they have it for the rest of their life, to be honest. Because, most people will just never go to the effort of healing it naturally. They'll take all the stuff that, and this is the other thing. It's like the thing that cracks me up so much about like dermatologists is psoriasis has nothing to do with your skin. Funnily enough, it shows up on your skin, but it's just one of like 90 autoimmune conditions, which all have to do with the same thing, which is your immune system is out of whack. Now, as I said, for me, the thing that caused it was my tattoo. That caused my immune system to go out of whack and to spend so long trying to so I think I'm allergic to, or not, I know. After a biopsy, I'm allergic to the ink. So I'm actually getting the tattoo removed. So that should help, especially along with everything else. So long story short, because of the ink, my body kept having to fight itself. And then because that literally happened for 6 months before the psoriasis came about, my immune system was just like out of whack, and it was just going crazy. And this is what happens with a lot of people when they eat foods they should not eat, and their body has intolerances to. Basically, their immune system freaks out. So it's that for me, the cause of my immune system freaking out and going out of whack was this tattoo, this foreign object. For people, it's, there's 101 different triggers, but at the end of the day, it's all just a function of your immune system. And then the way that it materializes, for some people, they end up getting Crohn's. For some people, they get IBS. For some people, they get psoriasis. For some people, they get it's all really down to the same thing. It's just what way does it show up in your body? So yeah, this is why I find like dermatologists very funny, because it's just like, this is not a skin problem. It may show up on the skin, but it's not a skin problem. Putting like, I got prescribed like steroid creams and this and that, and I refuse to take them because it's just like, it's the dumbest thing ever, because it doesn't get to the root cause. So yeah, anyways, I'll do a full length thing about everything that I went through and everything I'm going through, protocol in terms of healing this this autoimmune condition. But for now, hopefully that kind of answers your question. So ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for this Q&A. I hope you guys all enjoyed. You can find down below the winner for the Gadzhi giveaway. I'll see you guys in the next one.